Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com, and we are here today live to review, to unbox, and to try to boot the new CrowPi Raspberry Pi. Okay, what is the CrowPi Raspberry Pi? Well, it is in a nutshell a Raspberry Pi that is pre-packaged inside. Ooh, hold on. Sorry. Getting the preview feedback. What we're going to do is to see if we can just open this thing up and boot it up and get it working, starting playing with some of the sensors and actuators and so forth that are included on there. And I want to try to do it without looking at the instructions. Now, why would I want to do that? I figure if this is really a good product for education and I kind of know what I'm doing, I should be able to just intuitively open it up and get it working without reading the instructions. If I can do it without reading the instructions, you guys should be able to do it with reading the instructions. I should tell you guys that the CrowPi guys reached out to me and sent me this for evaluation. And I did agree that if they sent me one, I would take a look at it. But I'll tell you guys, I get hundreds and hundreds of offers for free products that they want me to review on this channel. And 99% of the time I say no. And the reason is just like I got a bunch of junk and I have a lot more junk than I have time. And so I don't want more free junk because I don't have time to do it. Why was it that I was willing to look at the CrowPi? Well, I teach high school, and I really am very excited about the Raspberry Pi, but I've had some real problems in effectively incorporating the Raspberry Pi into the classroom. And one problem is that the Raspberry Pi comes like this. It's very affordable, but to get it to work, first of all, you got to have a monitor connected to it. And there's a whole bunch of different HDMI cables, and then there's a whole bunch of different monitors. And does your Raspberry Pi work with the cable that you have that works with the monitor that you have, and then adapters and all this sort of stuff. And so just with all the differences in cables and monitors, I have at times ended up with the wrong Pi, with the wrong cable, with the wrong monitor. Second thing is then besides the monitor, you have to plug in a keyboard and a mouse. And so you've got keyboard, mouse, and monitor. Now this has kind of got wires going out in all directions, so you don't end up with a neat little product. You start getting a rat's nest on your desk. And then finally, you have got to power it, and you can power it through the little micro USB connection. But not all wall warts generate enough current to really effectively run a Pi, and I have at times also plugged the Pi into a computer USB and not had enough current out of that USB to run the Pi. And so the other thing I'll add is now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cords running everywhere, and it's pretty easy for that power cord to come out as you're moving things around. And if it does, if you just unplug a Pi, there's a very good chance that the memory card will get corrupted, and rebuilding a memory card can kind of be a pretty big deal. Also, the kind of just bare Pis don't come with a memory card, and when you start looking at the instructions of how to download the image and format the card and get it up and running, it's you know, if you're an adept guy, it's not that bad, but it is time consuming, and for somebody who's just getting started, it can be a little bit intimidating. So I felt like that this is just a little bit more than what's fair to expect a complete beginner to do in high school. So I've been a little bit not as effective at incorporating the Raspberry Pi into the classroom as I have with the Arduino. But then even with the Arduino, what I struggle with is this is one of the Spark Fun kits that we use in high school. It's 3-4 years old, and it's one of the kits that the students would be assigned. And the problem that I have is the level of maturity of high school students at the freshman or sophomore level. It's hard for them to have the maturity to really keep their kits organized. And so after a year or so, what you start finding is the kits have broken parts, they're misorganized, and then kids start cannibalizing parts out of other kits. And so we've got a whole bunch of half working, half missing, disorganized kits. And now I could come in and be the organization Nazi as the teacher and say, okay, we're going to take 10 minutes before class and every single wire put away. If I find a wire on a floor, or if I could do all things like that, but I want to make kids love engineering, and so I try to not be quite that harsh on them. And so the problem is that we end up with a lot of things that are not very organized. So then that brings us to the Raspberry Pi Crow. Why am I so excited about this? I'm excited about it because what it advertises is, it advertises that you should just be able to plug it in and get it up and working and not have to go through all this setup. And then everything is included in the case, sort of pre-wired, where you can learn the Raspberry Pi and you can start working with the GPIO pins, taking readings from sensor type elements and then sending signals to actuator or action type of devices. And then all of a sudden you've got things going without this overhead of trying to run wires and connect things and getting cards going. So that is what excited me about it. And so I did agree to look at this thing and review it. And so what I'm going to do, and probably the CrowPi people are probably very frightened, because I'm going to try to live open the box, see if I can turn the thing on and see if I can make it start doing interesting things without reading the manual. And what I find a whole lot of times is, I think this, if I'm not mistaken, this came off of a Kickstarter project. And one of the things is I found a lot of times these Kickstarter things are not quite ready for prime time. And what I find a lot of times is that there's a lot of really good kind of geeky engineers working on things, but when you get into it, it's not quite ready to work. Not that real customer support and knowing to get the thing fully ready before they release it. So it will be interesting today to see what happens. And so let me start by, this is a really cool little knife. It's got one of those razor blade things, but it folds open. So it lets you cut into things in a very handy fashion. And first of all, I'm kind of impressed with the box. It's a nice heavy box. It's well designed. It looks nice. I mean, it's got kind of a good look and feel to the box. And we'll kind of struggle with the views here for a minute. But this is taking the lid off. And I don't have any production support, so I'm running the cameras and the production software all by myself at the same time. And so let's see if it would be possible for me to give you guys a view of what this looks like if I switch over here. All right, there you can kind of see what we have here. It looks like that we've got a nice case that I'm assuming has everything in it. Looks like it's coming with some game controllers. I think I'm seeing a little remote control here. I'm seeing a servo. And yes, indeed, it looks like one of those incredibly cheapo servos. Would have liked to have had a little nicer servo. Got a stepper motor. Looks like it's got some headphones, and then looks like we have a power cord. So nice that the power cord is included. We'll set that aside. And then we will come over here and see if we can take the CrowPi out. All right, I'll set it aside here. And then we have the instruction manual, the CrowPi all-in-one quick start guide. Instructions, we don't need no stinking instructions. We're going to try to get this working without looking at any instructions. So let me see if I can get a view here where you guys can see. And I apologize if I was a real operation, I would have someone helping me with cameras, and I don't have the ideal set, but let's go ahead and open this up and see what we have in here. Wow. Okay. This is really, really impressive. I mean, this box has that kind of James Bond look and feel to it, like this slick little box. And it's a nice little box. It's a nice sturdy little box. And then you open it up. And what I see that is very exciting to me is it's got and you're seeing my reflection, it's got a screen. Okay, it's got a screen. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like the screen is already plugged in. I think I'm going to need to get further out of your way. And let's see, you guys have a lot of questions coming in, but I can't show this and answer the questions at the same time. So what I will do is I will try to leave some time at the end for questions. And so I'm not ignoring you, but right now we're going to try to just kind of go through this. So look at this. What I am seeing, I'll try to get this to focus. I'm seeing the Raspberry Pi 3, some version of the Raspberry Pi 3. Looks like I've got a button array of buttons. I've got an up, down, left, right button. I've got some dip switches. What I'm assuming is these dip switches are going to allow you to kind of configure this differently. Like if you want a certain device over here connected in, you do it through switches, and that's a really nice way to do it. So let's see, like what I can see is it says here, like if you want to turn on the vibration motor, it looks like that would be switch 1. So I'm assuming that if I wanted the vibration motor, I would switch the 1 pin up. And we can test and see if my intuition is right there. I want to continue to be mindful of the focus here. So let me see if I can help you get the focus down here. Okay, that's probably pretty good. Okay, so I think that I could probably control what I'm hooking up to here with this bank of switches, and it looks like this bank of switches over here is in some way associated with these push buttons. What I'm seeing is a Pi 3. The Pi 3 looks like it comes over into the case here, the GPIO pins, and then in some way it's connected to different things. I see that not only do I have the big display screen up here, which I assume is going to be kind of like a desktop type color display. Then I see we've got an LCD display, an LED matrix. We have a segmented LED display. I see a plug here. I'm assuming that's where things are going to plug in. It looks like we've got a vibrator, like something that would make a little buzzer. Not sure what's all going on up here. I see that I have a beeper buzzer. Looks like a microphone for sound, motion detector, ultrasonic sensor. This looks like one of those DHT11 temperature and humidity sensors. I see a relay. I see a tilt switch. And then it looks like I've got some plugs to drive a stepper motor. So I'm assuming the stepper motor driver is probably already in here. And then we've got some things to drive some servos. And so we've got a pretty impressive set of things here to play with. So now the question is, can we get this thing to turn on? So first thing, as a guy that's just opening the box that hasn't read anything, I want to look up here very carefully, and what I see that makes me smile is it looks like there's an SD card already in there. And so the question is, and to me the real question of, is this going to be something that's ready for prime time? Can I just plug the power cable in and will this thing boot up? Okay, because I think for a new guy or somebody that's learning, or grandpa that wants to help a grandson get things going, is it simple enough to just plug the power in and get this to work? Because, man, you know, kids a lot of times, they might be smart, but, you know, if something is too hard to get started, they're going to lose interest before they really get things going. And so it looks like I've got a power cord here, and I'm going to see if I can put it together, and we are going to see, when I plug this thing in, is it going to tell me a happy little boot screen? Is it going to give me a happy little boot screen, or is it going to tell me to like go format my card and do all that kind of nonsense? So we are going to see. So I'm trying to be super mindful of allowing you to watch what I'm doing here. So we're going to come in and we are going to plug it in. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay. I saw some sign of life up here on the screen. Look at that. Boom. This thing had a formatted card and it is booting. Okay, guys, I will get, when we get going, I will be mindful that you need to be able to read this screen. Now, it has gone black. Hopefully, look at that. This thing booted into the desktop. Boom. I talked for 15 minutes, but actually turning this thing on, I think it was like 2 minutes. You open the box, you plug it in, and it comes up ready to rock and roll. So, I mean, this would be very good if you're a kid or a young person. You get in and you're not going to get hung trying to get it working. And look at this, man. Look at this down here. It has everything that I need, and it's hooked up, and it's got the right cable to the screen, everything powered up. So far, I'm pretty excited. Now, I'm just curious. I have no reason to think that this would be the case, but I'm just wondering if this is a touch screen. So if I come in and, hey, boom, look at that. I've got a console. I've got a terminal window up already, and so that's kind of impressive. Let's see. Let me see if I can get, okay. So I'm going to see if I can go to Wi-Fi. So I saw, okay. So let's see if I can get Wi-Fi going here. All right, it's seeing, let's see, I don't know if you can read that. You probably can't read it. I will get something that you can see here in a minute. Okay, you see when I just hit the Wi-Fi, it found the things around here. So I'm going to see if I can, that was not good. It wants a password. Okay, let's see if I can try that again. Okay, SCISD net guest. Look at that. I can't tell for sure right now, but I believe I'm on Wi-Fi, right? We're like 3 minutes into this, and I have got Wi-Fi going. And I don't bail on me. I promise you I will get to a point that you can see clearly what is going on. But you saw that it's got a touchscreen, and we were able to open it up into a terminal. I believe that we're on Wi-Fi now. So the next step would be, can we get the keyboard? Can we get a keyboard? Because I want to look and see. What I really would like to do is I'd like to get a keyboard and a mouse, and then what I would like to do is I would like to be able to kind of drive around a little bit, see what's working, and see what we can do. So luckily, the kit they sent me has a keyboard. The question is, can we get the keyboard working? Again, without reading the instructions. So, look at this. Really nice looking little keyboard. It's confusing the production software because the keys are kind of aqua. The keys I will show you here are a beautiful aqua. This is kind of a nice, this is a nice little keyboard. There's no cable on it, so I'm going to have to figure it out. What looks very good is in the box there is also a mouse, and it looks like they gave me the batteries. So, man, nothing makes me madder than getting a product and then finding that you need a battery, especially if it's one of those doofus fat batteries and you've got to make a trip to town to buy a battery. So the good news is it has the battery. So let's see if I can get the battery. Got a little unwrapping to do here. Hold on. Where's my trusty knife? Boom. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Careful of polarity, putting that in. And now to connect. All right. Let's see. Let's see. As I'm looking at it, there is no cable, so I'm wondering if it's some sort of Bluetooth device. And I'm looking for a button to see if there's some way to make this discoverable. scforter.com, but I do not want to look things up. I need to be able to figure out. So the only thing that scares me is maybe there's a keystroke to get this thing to go in pair. I don't know that it's Bluetooth. I don't know what it is, but let me look under Bluetooth here, and I'm going to say add device on Bluetooth. And it's found a couple of Bluetooth devices out there, but it's not acting like a keyboard. It doesn't say like a keyboard. So I don't think that is going to be the solution. And so let's see. Let me look. I don't know. Maybe I can connect the mouse. And if I connect the mouse, maybe that will give me some some clues as to what to do here. Very nice little mouse. I like the little mouse. So let me power up the mouse and see if that is discoverable. Okay, so we'll open this up and uh-oh, look what I found in here. It looks like a dongle. So maybe I need to plug that dongle in and maybe I'll have some success then in pairing. Okay, so let's put the battery into the mouse. And then let me put the dongle in over here to a USB. It couldn't be that easy, but let's just see what happens. Okay, and then let's come back over here. Hey guys, do you see what just happened? The mouse came to life. The mouse came to life just by plugging that dongle in. How cool is that? So I'm sure if you'd read the instructions, you would have known that to begin with, but we do not read instructions. We figure things out. Okay, so now how about the keyboard? Well, I wonder if it was that easy. What if I go to a terminal window and I call up the terminal window and look, the keyboard is automatically working. So boom, we are now like maybe 10 minutes into this, 5 to 10 minutes into this, and without reading the instructions, we already have, without reading the instructions, we have Wi-Fi, we have mouse, we have screen, we have everything. So this, I'm getting kind of excited about how well this is done, but you know, we'll reserve judgment. We want to put it through its paces. Early indicators are these guys have done a good job. These guys have done a good job, early indicator, but the jury is still out. Okay, so let's just kind of poke around here and see what I can do. Come over here, graphics. Hey, there's a, I don't know if there's a camera on here, but there's camera software. Let's see what happens. Boom, look at that. This thing has a camera looking back at me. I guess, let's see. Okay, the camera is, I don't know where the camera is. I'm trying to cover the camera up. I'm trying to hide the camera. Okay, I am not sure. I am not sure where the camera is. Do you see how weird this is? I should somewhere just see my hand. Okay, there it is. It's up at the top center where I guess you could say that's where you would expect it to be. Okay, let's close that. So that's pretty cool. No installation. Boom, I've got a camera. I don't know if there's like a Skype that works on Linux. Everyone always yells at me, Linux, Linux. Okay, I don't know. Stop yelling at me. Get over it. Okay, let's look at this. Under Office, it looks like, I wonder if this looks like a spreadsheet maybe. Let's see. Wow, look at that. We got a spreadsheet. Let's just say I say 3 on the keyboard. Keyboard's working 2. Enter. I'll say equals sum. And I've never even used this before, but just kind of doing intuition. Sum. Let's see if I can drag over those. Sum 3 and 2. Enter. 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. Let's see if you can see that. Not getting a great focus on that screen. We're gonna, there it is. Okay, we're gonna get you where you can see this clearly in a minute if things work according to plan, but just bear with me for a while. And then you see we still got all this cool stuff down here, and we haven't even gotten to that yet. So now what we kind of see is we've got a bootable Pi into the desktop with a camera, with Wi-Fi. I wonder if I could, no, don't save. Okay, and let's see, I'm gonna, it looks like under Office I've got, this is like a database, a spreadsheet, a drawing program. This would be something like PowerPoint, kind of a math solver, and it looks like a word processor, and so that is pretty cool. Let's see what else we have. Under programming, it looks like you've got Scratch, which is kind of a cool thing. Won't go into that today. And it looks like you've got a Python IDE built in, and so Python is probably up and ready to go already. I'll play around with that in a minute because I want to kind of see, can I actually sit in this first thing, actually start doing a little programming. What I want to do is I want to go in and see just intuitively, can I go in and start sending signals to some of these cool devices and then reading data back from them without folding up like a cheap lawn chair. You know, this is not easy to do live. Accessories, image viewer, PDF viewer, task manager, terminal, everything else has worked. So I'm just going to assume all this stuff is working. Look at that. Again, check this. 3 plus 2, boom, equals 5. So that works. Oh, let's see if we actually can surf the web. I think I connected to Wi-Fi just with my finger without even having the keyboard. And so let's see what happens here. Look at that. I've got a browser. Let's go google.com. Okay. Seems like I'm a tad bit slow here. Okay, it looks like I do believe I'm on the internet. Let's say if I go www.toptechboy.com. Let's see what happens. Looks like I'm on the Chrome browser here. Oh, look at that. We are on the most excellent toptechboy.com. Okay, so we're on the web. We're doing all types of stuff in the window here. So this is all really, really great stuff. Okay. Now, this is pretty cool. Let me see if there's any other things we need to look at under here. Sound. It looks like it's got a desktop recorder. I mean, if you're familiar with the Linux, the Raspberry Pi Linux desktop, you're probably familiar with all this stuff, but it's just kind of neat to see that I've got it in all one standalone unit and kind of have a keyboard here working with it. And so this is pretty cool. We are not going to play games. We are not going to play Minecraft or anything like that. Now, what I would say is that the reason I'm excited about this is not this desktop. I think it's kind of neat that you got all this stuff on the desktop, but this is not going to be a laptop. I'm not excited about this as a laptop. I'm excited about it for the action going on down here, and that's what I want to get into. So this desktop, ladies and gentlemen, is just slowing us down. And so what I want you to see is you don't need no stinking desktop. So we are going to come in. I'm going to open up a terminal, and I'm going to say raspi config. I should probably say sudo just to be safe. Sudo raspi config. And guys, it's been probably 2 years since I played very much with a Raspberry Pi, so I hope I remember this stuff. So what I want to do is I want to boot into a console. Does that make sense? I don't want a desktop. I want to boot into a console. So I want to look at boot options. Okay. And then I want, raspi config desktop CLI. Let's see. I hope that will give me something. Okay, console, auto login. Okay, so I want to log into the console automatically. I don't want to put my password in there. And you see, I don't want this GUI business anymore. I want to boot into a console. All right, let's make sure that that took, that was boot, and then that is desktop, and then console, yeah. So I'm going to come down here to OK. And now I'm going to come down here to finish. And now what I really want to see is if I can just boot up into the console. And hopefully you guys can see it better. Let me see, is anybody even out there? Am I just sitting here talking to myself? Is anybody out there, or am I talking to myself? While that thing is booting, let's hope it boots into the console. Let's see if I can see if you guys have any questions. Okay. You guys are talking about shoes, and 8th graders and 13, 9th grader, 15-year-old. Hey, man, that's pretty cool. We got some people out there. All right. Okay, and again, I'm getting corrected on how to pronounce Linux. Man, you know, Linux guys, sometimes Linux guys, whoever they are, sometimes they're kind of grabby old guys. Sometimes they're kind of angry. Seems like sometimes Linux guys are really angry, and I don't know why. Okay, so let's look and see. We did not boot into the console. So why did we not boot into the console? Let me try this again. Okay, so we're going to go. Can you guys tell me why we did not boot into the console? Raspi config. Let's do sudo raspi config. I told you, guys, I had not done this in a while. Let me try one more time. Sudo raspi config. Right, did you see me? I did it and then I checked it. And so why is this not doing that? Let's go down. Boot options. Let's go there. Console. Okay, I want console auto login. Let me check it again. Boot options. Console. So it's not taking that. Let's see, maybe I need to click OK. Okay, now let's come down. Maybe I didn't click OK. So if that is the case, that is not the fault of CrowPi. It's just the fact that I have not. Yes, I'm going to reboot now. It's just the fact that I have not played with a Pi in a long time. Okay, so it does look like we're rebooting. Okay. Let's see if we come up in the terminal. Okay, it's saying starting terminal. Maybe that's a good sign. Boom! Do you see that? None of that graphical interface to slow me down. None of that graphical interface to slow me down. Okay, guys, you know what I'm going to try to do here? I am going to do an ifconfig, okay? And I think that I see an IP address there. I think that I see an IP address there, that WLAN IP address. Now what I want to see if I can do is I want to call up PuTTY. All right, I am going to call up PuTTY. Let's see, I need to get it where you guys can see. So I think you can see that, and let's see if I can call up PuTTY. All right, if you guys don't have PuTTY, you need PuTTY because, man, this little screen is nice if you're just going to be fooling around and you got everything you need. I love the screen, but I want to SSH in with PuTTY and see if I can do that. So if I come over here and I look, I see an IP address that looks like, and I've got the old 2 keyboard problem here. I got to come over here to this keyboard, I do believe. And I think I am seeing 10.1.37.22. Okay. And then it's wanting me to log in, so I will put that. Okay, boom. Now look at where we are. Look at where we are. You see, now you're looking at my PC and you're looking at my PuTTY window. Okay, but you are not going to be able to see that. So let me kill that and let's try that again and let's see if I can change the font. I don't know how to change the font in real time. Okay. So I am going to go to Appearance and I'm going to say Change. And let's give you bold, and let's give you like 26. So hopefully you can see this nice and big. Now let's come back and let's log in. 10.1.37. 10.1.37, what did I say it was? .22, okay. .22, enter. Okay, now we are going to go logging in. Okay, look at that. Now, I think that you guys can probably, hopefully, see this now. Okay, I think that you can probably see that. And what I'll continue to do is over here give you a view of the action, okay, in this window. And then I probably can kind of not focus on the little screen, because you're going to see, since I'm in the console, you can see everything I'm doing. I'm also going to move this keyboard and this mouse out of the way. I love them, but you can't read the screen very well, so I think you'll be able to follow me better. You'll be able to follow me better if I just move over to the terminal window on the computer. And then let's see here. I'll let you guys, instead of looking at this little screen, I'll let you look here at where more of the action is occurring. And then I'm really trying to be mindful that you guys have a good focus, and so let me make sure that you guys have a good focus. I'll focus on this. These little webcams sometimes are quite annoying in trying to get a focus. But let's see. This guy just does not want to focus, does he? Okay, that is probably not too bad. And let me get that out of your way. Get it over there. And now you're seeing a lot of the stuff that is going on there. In case we do something interesting, this focus is making me angry. There, I think that focused. All right, so now let's look and just start poking around here on this thing. In LS, it looks like I am, you know what, I am going to have to move this because that is kind of blocking my view a little bit. So now I can see the screen. Okay, let's see, PWD, I am in the home.pi. It looks like pretty standard Raspberry Pi. Let's come on up and let's do a change directory to desktop like that, and then do an ls. And ooh, look, something called CrowPi. That looks pretty interesting. Let's go back to our home directory, change directory squiggly. We are back to our home directory. So we're getting around the system here. That's pretty interesting. Let me think. What would be interesting to do here? Let me just do nano. Let me do nano and then tst.py. Let's just see if I can write a Python program. This would be print, and I don't know what version, if any, of Python is here, but let's just try this. Hello world. Do that, come back. And you guys remember there was that nice IDE in the desktop, but I'm just trying to run from the terminal. So now in Nano is an editor. To get out of it, Control X. Yes, I want to save it tst.py. I will save it as and enter. Now I'm going to say Python tst.py, and I have no idea if this is going to work, but boom, do you see that? Hello world. How far into this are we? And we've already written our first Python program. We are like 38 minutes into this. I've babbled for 15 minutes, so it's kind of like in under 20 minutes we've already written our first Python program. So that is pretty darn impressive. But now we get down to the real action. So CrowPi, guys, so far so good, right? So far so good. No glitches, no like, see your, contact your network administrator or anything like that. And again, I haven't played with a Pi in a couple of years, and so I'm going on kind of vague memory. But now what really, really excites me is, can we come in and start sending signals to, can we go in and start sending signals to some of this stuff and then reading signals from some of this stuff? And what I'm thinking is, like, if I look over here, what it seems like is, if I want to use the vibration motor or the tilt sensor, I'm going to have to do something with these pins. But otherwise, it seems like that these different things are giving me pin numbers. Like it says the motion sensor is pin 16, the vibration is pin 13. So it's giving me little clues here, or this up button is pin 19. So I think that I can just read off of there the pin info that I would need. So let's see if, you know, at about the half-hour point, if I can actually make something happen on this board. So let's see, what do I need to do? I am going to do a nano, and I am going to do, I'm going to try to do in and out. So I'll just call it in and out, because I want to see if I can interact with things that I listen to, like the buttons, and interact with things that I write to, like a buzzer. So I'm going to call it inout.py. Now, we're in the editor now. We're in the text editor. Got to have some coffee, man. We're in the text editor now. So let's see. Just about anything you're going to do with anything, you're going to want to import time, okay? And that just allows you to put delays in your program, which you almost always need. You're going to be using the GPIO pin, so you've got to import that library. And so that would be capital RP little I dot GPIO, that's general purpose input output pins, as, and I like to just call it pins because that's an object and I'm going to be interacting with the pins. These are the pins, and so I'm going to name this object pins because that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to have an action pin, and that would be one that does something. Like I would send a signal to it, and so what would be something on here that would be something I could send an action to? Let's see, there seems to be a buzzer here, like a beeper, and let's see if I can give you guys some focus. Okay, it seems like that I am seeing a buzzer pin, and it says the buzzer is pin 12. And so my action pin could be pin 12. Now, when I get the program going, I can go in and I can change the action pin to a different object, but I'm just going to have an action pin that I send signals to and a listen pin that I listen to. And so what would be a sensor on here that might be pretty simple? Let me look for a sensor pin that might do something. How about a button? That would be the simplest thing. And so it looks like this up button is pin 19. And so what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to set my listen pin to pin 19. Oh, I did that. Okay, that worked. Pin 19. All right. Listen pin is pin 19. Now, I need to do my set modes, okay? And what this does is pins.setMode. You have to tell the Pi what number convention you want. Like there's two different number conventions, like what the pins actually are versus what they're labeled on the Pi. And the simple pin numbers would be board. So I want to set the pin modes to pins.board. And this is just kind of a standard Raspberry Pi thing. You set this and then it makes it real easy to know which pin you're talking to. So I'm saying I'm going to go with pins.board, and now I'm going to have to do pin setup, which is kind of like the Arduino pin mode. So I'm going to do pins setup, and then my action pin is going to be what? Pins.output or input? Well, it's going to be an output. Okay. Do you see this a little bit like the Arduino? And then pins.setup, and then action pin, and pins.in, right? So this is kind of like the pin modes. Now we're in Python here, so this is a lot different. You know, no semicolons at the end. All right, so what is the simplest thing that I could possibly do? Well, I could do a pins.output. What do I want to output to? The action pin. And then what do I want to do? I want to make it pins.high. So I'm going to try to send action pin, which is 12. I'm going to try to send it high. And now I'm going to time.sleep. And these are in seconds. And so let's say half a second. Okay. and then pins dot output, and let's go action pin pins dot low. All right, and then just for good measure, I'll say time dot sleep, and again, a half second 0.5. All right, I have probably just made a million typographical errors, but to get out of this editor, it's Control X, and then yes, I want to save, so I type a Y, and then enter, and then now I want to go Python, and can you see? Yeah, you can see Python, and then in out.py, and let's see what happens. In out.py, let's see how many errors I get. RPI, GPI, what? Okay, it doesn't like RPI.GPIO. What kind of nonsense? Ah, I see what I did. Look at this. Did you guys catch that? Did you guys catch that? What did I do here? Import. No, it's import. And what I should have seen is it didn't turn blue, so I should have seen that. Control X, yes. Okay, now I am going to do Python in out. Still is not happy. Pins output. What is this? Has not been set up as an output. Action pin most certainly was set up as an output, wasn't it? Okay. Oh, look at that. What did I do? I said action pin. What, did you guys catch that? That was really rookie mistake. It's live. What can you expect? I make mistakes. The N should have been listen pin, right? L-I-S-T-N pin, like that. And then there is no uppercase there. So listen, Control X, yes. Okay, go Python. Boom! Did you hear that? Man, we are like under an hour into this thing, and we are already interacting with these components on the board. Now, you might say it's not a big deal, oh, you just made something big, but it is a big deal because we booted, and without reading the instructions, I'm sitting here and I'm sending signals to a beeper. If I could send it to the beeper, I could send it to the motor, I could send it to different things, right? And so this, my friend, is a very, very big deal. Okay, let's try to do a read. Let's try to read something, okay? So I'm going to in, out, and so I'm going to come down here. And now it'll beep, then I'll do a while loop, while true. And what do I want to do while true? I'm just going to read from that button pin and then print it. So let's see, how would I do a read? I believe that I would do a read with, let's see, I'm going to say read button. Now I'm going to, what do I want to say? I'm going to say read val is equal to pins dot input, and then what am I going to, which pin am I going to input from? Listen pin. And if you guys are Arduino guys, I want you to see that you should recognize these are very similar to the Arduino. It's just the specific commands are a little different. The formatting is a little bit different, but you can ought to start recognizing this. So read val is equal to pins dot input of, not a capital L there, listen pin. So now I should be able to then do not serial, but just print and then read val like that, and that should show me what I'm reading off of that. That should show me what I'm reading off of that button. And we said it was listen pin was 19, and pin 19 is the up button. And so I'm thinking that it should be like a 0. I'm thinking it should be a 0. And then I think when I press it, it should be a 1. Now, I will be honest, to really do this, it might have been that I needed to somehow give a command to put a pull-up resistor in there. I don't remember exactly what the rules are on pull-up or pull-down resistors, so don't go off and use this code in the control system for your Boeing 737. This is just, I'm trying to see, based on memory, whether this stuff will work or not. So if it doesn't work, it's probably because I needed like a pull-up resistor or a pull-down resistor or something in there. So let's see. Okay, it did that. Now it's reading a 1, which means in the off position, in the no button push, it's a 1. But let's see if I press it. I'm still getting a 1. And so let's see what went wrong there. Control C. Oh, I think maybe I know. Okay. Read val is only reading a 1. And I'm saying read val is pins.input, listen pin. So everything worked as expected, but I am not reading the button. And I wonder what I'm doing wrong. It's reading and it's printing, but I'm not seeing any real button action. Listen pin. That looks good. Read val is an input. Listen pin is an input. Did I do this? Did I do something strange? Setup. Pins dot. Okay, I did the setup on the action pin. I did the setup on the listen pin. All these switches are up. If the CrowPi people are watching, they're probably screaming at me what I need to do. But let's see. I am not seeing. That is pin 19. And I've set it up as pin 19. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. It says that it is key 19, which is not what I wanted. The pin is pin 37. So this is what happens when you don't read the instructions. I'm not saying that you should try to do things live on your channel without reading the instructions, but that should have been, I misread the pin. So let's come back up here, and the listen pin is 37. So let's go Control X. Yes. Okay, now let's run it, Python. Okay, now I'm getting a whole bunch of 1s, and I'm going to press that. And I'm still not getting, oh yes, look at that. I thought, yeah, okay, I got 0s there. And then let it up. Okay. And there, that's looking pretty good. Let's see, maybe I need a little delay in there. Maybe I'm going way too fast. And then if it doesn't work a little better without the delay, what it probably is, I probably needed some sort of resistor in there. Okay, nano. All right, so let's see here. Let's come down and let's put a time.sleep to give it just a 0.25 seconds. Okay, Control X. Yes. All right, so now let's go here again and see what happens. Okay, now let's see if it'll read. Okay, now look at that. Boom! Do you see that? Huh? I'm getting button data in probably under an hour without reading the instructions. Okay, so that's pretty exciting, man. You guys, I don't know if you get as excited about this as I do. But now let's see. Okay, I want to do something more interesting now. So you see, like, what is the whole micro technology world about? It's about listening to one thing, making a decision, and doing something else. Let's see if we can do this in our first thing here. We're gone a lot further than what I thought I would be able to get on this today. Okay, nano input output. So what I want to do is I want to read, instead of doing this nonsense up here, I'm just going to take all this out. And I want to do the setups right Okay, but I want to do this read right here. So I'm going to do while true, okay, and then I'm going to do a read. Okay, so my main loop here is just going to be doing a read to listen pin. And then I'm going to say, okay, then while, so I'm going to have another while loop, and then while read val equal, when I pressed it, it was a 0, while read val equals 0, then what do I want to do? I got to read it again, because since I'm looping on the value read val, I've got to, once I get in the loop, you've got to read it. Before you go in the loop, you got to read it. After you go in the loop is equal to, a braver man would have tried to copy and paste input and then listen pin. Okay, and then I can go ahead and print that. And before I print it though, what I'm going to do is, got to tab that back over. I really don't like Python tabs. I like the Arduino curlies, curly open, curly close a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to do a read val, and then what I'm going to say is I'm going to do a pins dot output, and what do I want to output to? The action pin. And then what do I want to do? I want to do a pins dot high. Okay, that's saying if the button is pressed and as long as the button is down, I want to be beeping. So I'm going to turn that action pin high. And then when it drops out of that loop, so you see my indentation is back over it. When it drops out of the loop, I want to do a pins dot output. And then I'm going to do an action pin and then pins dot low. All right. So let's see. How many mistakes did I make? Control X, yes, enter, and then let's run it. Is anything happening? I guess nothing would happen because it's just looping, waiting for a button to press. And so let's see. There it goes. Boom! Did you see that? Guys, do you realize how significant this is? It might look like a really simple thing to you, but the thing is that in under an hour, I'm not sure exactly where we are on this live stream, I've been able to unbox this thing. I've been able to boot it up. I've been able to get on the internet. I've been able to open up a word processor, and I have been able to write a program that takes a signal from one component and makes a decision and sends something to another component. So let's see if I can do something a little bit cooler. So let's do Control C. Let me look here. And guys, I still don't know if I'm reading the buttons right. If you're going to do that, really read the instructions, because you do need to understand about when pull up and pull down resistors are needed and how you turn them on. So we are flying without a net here in what we are doing. But watch this, okay? So I'm going to do the nano again. Now, what I find very interesting is this motion sensor. Do you see the motion sensor? And I don't think that I have to do anything with the motion sensor. And it looks like the motion sensor is pin 16 perhaps. All right. So it's pin 16. So then if I come back over here to this, if the motion sensor is pin 16, would that be listen pin or action pin? That would be listen pin. So if we just change that to 16, now rather than looking at the button, I'm seeing if the motion sensor sees anything. So now, wouldn't this be amazing if we do kind of like a completely different project just by changing one line of code? Okay, so yes, save, and then we're going to Python that puppy. Okay, here we go. All right, so it's sitting there even without motion, so I think we're going to have to change one other line of code. This is, oh man, this is going to annoy you, but I'm going to have to run the program again to get it to turn off. Okay, what's the problem? this probably needed to be the other way, that while it is 1, wait for it to see motion before you start going off, okay? You don't know how happy I am to get that noise to go off. And what is this pin set up, these warnings I'm getting here? Ooh, it saw me move. Be real still. Okay, it saw me move. What are those warnings there? It's that I need to do a GPIO cleanup, and I need to do a try and accept. I need to do a little bit better coding on the Arduino, but I mean on the Pi, but I just haven't done this in a while, so I'm not sure. Okay, it's sitting there. All right, so let's try this. Okay, let's try this. $20. Okay. Well, let me make it more dramatic. So I'm going to Control C to stop. I'm going to put my $20 here, okay? And now I'm going to come back and do a Python. Now we're running. Okay, everything's okay. Oh, look, somebody left their $20. Boom, busted. Busted. Busted taking the $20, okay? Now I'm going to be very careful this time, and I'm going to come in from the side. Busted. Busted. Okay. So that is a pretty cool program. Well, all right, we've been using, hush you aggravating thing. Okay, that time, please. Okay, Control C. All right. That time, this time, okay, let's see if I understand this right. Do you see? You probably can't. You probably can't see it. You can't read it, but I will try to give you focus. Okay, that is pretty good focus. Right here it says if you want to use the vibration motor, it says pin 1, I think is what it's saying. So I'm going to turn pin 1 on, and I think that means that I could use the vibration motor. And then the vibration motor itself, it says, is hooked to pin 13. And so that means if I come back over here and I edit that program, okay, now I want the action pin. 12 was the buzzer, 13 is the vibrator. So I'll put that as 13, Control X, yes, like that. And so now let's run the program. Okay, I might have to move this over here. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but let's see. Yeah, okay. Do you see this thing is vibrating now on motion? So I've shown, okay, it's working. I've shown that I can listen to different things, and I've shown that I can write to different things. So just by playing with, and we are going to kill this program because even the buzzer gets annoying. Okay, but because I'm not doing a good job here, I got to let it go off before I kill the program, or the thing would just sit there and keep buzzing. Okay, so what you can see that we could do here is we have all these different buttons we can play with, up, down, left, right. We could make different decisions. We could hook up the ultrasonic sensor, the 8-segment display. We could hook up the LCD. We could probably blink these LEDs over here that are connected directly to the GPIO pins. And then we actually have a little circuit board that we could build on. And so, man, guys, thumbs up on this thing. This is pretty cool. And what I could see is, I am not kidding you, just with this kit here, I could like teach 4 years of high school engineering based on this one kit, because it's a platform where I can listen to a lot of different things and write to a lot of different things. We could learn the Raspberry Pi. We could learn Linux, whatever you want to say. Okay, you haters, go ahead, leave your ugly comments to me on that. We could be listening to a lot of different things. We could be writing to a lot of different things. We could be doing display types of things. We could learn all types of stuff, simple circuits. Man, this would be really great. And again, this is such a cool little case. And it's also, the whole thing is very elegant. It's kind of like reminds me a little bit of like unboxing an iPhone. You know how like with a you know how like with an iPhone, how it's all so nice and neat, and that's kind of the look and feel that I'm getting on this thing. I am really, really impressed with what we've been able to do. And it's like I just start thinking all the different stuff that I want to do with this. Also, I think it's just really neat for education because the cool factor is very, very high here to have this little box and you open it up and there's just all of this stuff on it. And so I think that the cool factor is very high. And I think this would just be a really exceptional education device. And so I am just hypersensitive about focus. And so I'm trying to give you a good focus. And hopefully that's pretty good. Let me see if I can tilt this up a little bit more for you. Okay, maybe I should stay out of your way. All right, I really, really like this. I have got to have focus. Focus. Give me focus. Okay, now we try to move it back. Okay, I think I gave you focus there. I'm just really, really, really super excited about this thing. And guys, I think the one thing, like I poked around the web a little bit just to see what was available. I think one thing that is needed with this is a really good curriculum. Like what would be great would be if you had 40, 50, 60 lessons where you're teaching the Raspberry Pi, you're teaching Linux, you're teaching circuits, you're teaching all of these components, you're teaching engineering with this. I think they do have a instruction manual that would allow you to get this thing up and running. But the problem with it, I think it's more like here, load this program and do this and this works. And so the pedagogy is kind of missing, which is understandable because, you know, they're giving a hardware platform. I think they need to find someone to develop an entire series of lessons on this so that you're not just typing in RPI.GPIO as pins. Like when I went through it, you just see I kind of explained to you what that was. I didn't just say go to my website, load the code and run it, because you don't learn that way. But this could be a platform that people could learn on if there was a good tutorial series on it. I'll be honest with you that I just kind of gut feel I am so impressed with this. I would be interested in maybe developing a tutorial series on this platform, but I would need to see if there was interest from you guys. I've got a link down in the description. If I see 20 or 30 people ordering this kit and a bunch of feedback, I might actually go in and put together a series sort of like the Arduino serials, you know, on my YouTube channel, my new Arduino tutorial series, do something like this on this platform. I love the platform though, but if no one's going to get this thing, then I can't really make that investment in this specific platform. So I got to kind of see, is there some momentum and is there some interest in getting this? Okay. I don't remember the exact price, but I think it was about $339, which is kind of like, ouch, that's like, you know, that's kind of like a high price. Because we think, oh, well, an Arduino is 15 bucks, or I could probably find a Raspberry Pi for 20 bucks. But the thing is, you know, as I've tried to bring a Raspberry Pi up before, the Raspberry Pi is 20 bucks, but then you've got to get the card, and then you've got to get the cable, and then you've got to get the adapter, and then you got to get the dongle, and then you got to get the wall board, and then you got to get that, get that. And you end up spending a lot more on the cables and connectors than you do on the Raspberry Pi itself. And just the fact that you've got everything here, and again, I could see spending 3 or 4 years and still not have learned everything that you could learn off of this. Now, if it's, and again, it's organized so the kids are not going to lose their components. Now, if you're grandpa teaching your grandson, it's not bad to just get a Pi and buy the components and do it like that, because you can teach your grandson about staying organized and putting your tools away and all those things that fathers and grandfathers used to teach their kids. But those kids are coming to school now and they don't have those. If you're teaching your own son or your family, maybe you could just buy this and then teach them that important lesson. But man, for educators and for education, this would be great. And in my school, it's very easy to spend $100, $150 on a textbook. And so this being 300 something is not ridiculous and without you know, beyond the question of what would be possible. And so I'm telling you that I really, really, really love this thing. Okay. Now, even though I love this thing, there's a couple of things that I would say that would be suggestions. And, nothing's ever going to be perfect. And so what I give them extremely high marks on, you saw me live first time opening this thing up and getting it working without even reading the instructions. There is something that I've noticed that I don't like. And if you look here, this is bent. Okay, and when this package came, the package was not damaged at all. The box was in excellent condition. The box is well padded. Okay, so this bend here where this thing has been bent, that means that when they were manufacturing it or when they bought the box, it had this bend in it. But quality control, man, when you get something like this, you don't want to see that you got one that the box was bent. Now, if I complained about it, maybe they would send me another one. This one they sent me complimentary, so maybe they thought, well, it doesn't matter. But man, don't send a product out that has a ding in it. Have a little quality control where you look at it, and if a case is bent, don't send something out with a bent. We'll give them a little grace here because I think they're in the very early stage of delivering these things, so we'll extend them a little grace. But CrowPi, if you guys are watching, inspect things and don't send something out that has a bent case. All right, then this isn't so much a criticism as it is something that I really would like to see in the future, and of course, you always want a bigger screen. Or, I mean, what I was finding when I was playing with some of those windows when we were in the graphical interface, some of the windows were larger than the screen, and then I couldn't resize the window to be the screen size. And so like on that camera, when I hit full screen, it was bigger than the screen, and I couldn't resize it smaller. So somehow the software needs to match the hardware, or the hardware needs to match the software, where you don't end up with these windows that are going off screen. It's a little bit annoying to me. But then again, I would plan on using this in terminal mode, not the GUI mode. But it would be nice if the GUI matched a little better or adapted to this smaller screen. Maybe that's not a criticism of CrowPi, but maybe what I would love to see would be a version that had a screen that maybe more fully filled up the space available. Okay. Another thing, I see that there's a little board here. I'm not sure. I don't think this board is connected to anything. So I would imagine that if you're going to build something on this board, you're probably going to have to jumper a wire off of one of these out pins down here. You're probably going to have to jumper a wire off. And focus, man, focus. Give me a focus. Come on. What is this nonsense? Okay. There. All right. So good as it's going to get. You're probably going to have to jumper off of here and bring it over here, and then you could put a simple circuit in there. Man, when I look at how elegant this is, what I really would give anything would be a future version of this that had something like this, like a really big prototyping board. Right now, this is good for learning, and this is good for connecting, but designing, developing, and building to make this more of a little bit of a general purpose Raspberry Pi workbench, I would love it to have a big thing like this, which means you would have to have a bigger case, but something like this. And then I would like the breadboard to be connected internally to these GPIO pins, or maybe at least configurable from a set of pins where I could go in and I could really build out a circuit. Like, remember where we left off, like one of our Raspberry Pi lessons, or I'm sorry, one of our Arduino lessons, we start building something like this. Okay, well, what I would love is I would love to have a build area here where I could start doing some pretty cool projects like this. Now, yeah, you've already got an ultrasonic sensor and you got an LCD, but what if I wanted a GPS or a GSIM or a 9-axis sensor, really start doing something sophisticated? I would like to have a big build area, and I would like to have rows of these pins that are already pre-labeled so that I could just connect up, you know, something with these very straight jumper wires and start doing development. So I guess I'm rambling. But this is a learning board, okay? This is a platform on which you can learn and on which you can kind of make things, okay? I would like something that would allow me to develop things, and that would give me a lot bigger build area. Because like I say, I could keep you busy 4 years with projects on just what is included here. I could keep you busy for 4 years, but the day is going to come where you're going to want to have a GPS, or you're going to want to have a 9-axis sensor, or you're going to want to have, you know, more stepper motors. And so give me a version of the future maybe that has a bigger build area. Okay, a bigger build area. Man, let's come back. Did anybody actually watch this? Did anybody actually watch this? Let me see here where we are. Okay, we've got some, looks like we've got some people watching. Okay, let me open up things for some questions. If there's anyone out there, if there's anyone out there with a question, I am now looking at the chat window, and let's see if anybody has any comments. Tell me what you thought about this. Tell me what you're thinking. Okay, let's see. Is that HDMI video output? I do believe that this video output looks like HDMI, doesn't it? If it will focus there. Doesn't that look like an HDMI coming right in here? I do believe it is. Okay, what does Crow stand for? I do not know what Crow stands for. Okay, that is HDMI. How is Arduino different from Raspberry Pi? Well, Arduino is really kind of very different. Like if you think of Arduino, Arduino has the operating system already completely built in, and you just put power on it and it boots, and it has one program stored, and when it boots, it runs that program. I love it because nothing gets corrupted. If you're like on a mission like where we do these high altitude ballooning, if you get a power glitch, when it comes back up and running your program. To where with the Raspberry Pi, you've got to more operate it from a terminal, because if you got a power glitch, you don't know how it's going to come or if it's going to corrupt the card or anything. This is more like a desktop computer on a card, to where the Arduino is more of a microcontroller where it's just automatically running one program. Okay, glued to the screen. Okay, I watched it. Very good, Odessa. How is the Arduino different from the Raspberry Pi? Just said it. Can Raspberry Pi run YouTube? Yes, I think that the Raspberry Pi, I don't know how hard it would be for me to do that, but let's see. While I'm talking, I'm going to see if I can just, while we're chatting, I'm going to see if I can go back to the desktop interface and see what happens here. Let's see, how would I do that? I have lost control. Let's see. Okay. Let me see if I can give you guys at least some chance. Yeah, at least you can kind of see what I'm typing here. So give me just a second. I'm going to do a sudo raspi config. Somebody I think was wanting to know whether this would do YouTube. So let's look and see. I want to choose how I boot, and I want to do a desktop, automatically logged in, enter, and then I want to finish, and yes, I want to reboot. So let's see. Oh, that was a very ugly noise. Very, very ugly noise. Oh, maybe that noise was I was SSH'd in through the PuTTY, and maybe that was what the ugly noise was. Okay. So we're on the question. Yeah, we're on the question of can we run YouTube. We're going to look into that. Paul, the kit looks great, but 300 is pretty stiff for a hobbyist. Why not go piece by piece on a Raspberry Pi tutorial? That's the other possibility. I could go piece by piece, but then it really gets into what HDMI cable are you going to get? Then what monitor do you have? I can't, like, right on the Arduino, I just say get this kit. That's all you do. Boom, get the kit. We're all on the same hardware. I can't quite do that on the Raspberry Pi because I don't know what kind of monitor you have, and I don't know what kind of cable you have. If you already have a cable, I don't know how your network is configured. There's so many things that I don't know. That the thing that I like about this is I like that we could all be playing with the same hardware. But then I agree that 300 is kind of steep. But then it's all relative. You know, it's kind of like I eat organic and people say, well, organic is really expensive. And I say, well, organic is cheaper than chemotherapy. Okay. It's the same type of thing here. 300 is kind of expensive, but how about, you know, compare that to an iPhone or an Xbox? So grandpas, rather than getting your kid an Xbox, get him one of these. Rather than that new cell phone, get him one of these. So you see, it's kind of like I'm not comparing this to a $20 Raspberry Pi. I'm comparing it to an $800 cell phone or a $400 Xbox. But I will agree that the price, my big fear with this is the one thing from this becoming like a real standard and a real go-to platform, the price could end up in the end being a barrier. Hey, we're booted here. Let's come back over here. And again, I apologize that I can't give you a better shot of the screen. The screen looks, I will say the screen looks way better than what you are seeing here. And I can't find my mouse. Okay, why is my little mouse not working? Okay, I've been through so many different things here. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's come back to life. So let me come to a browser here. Okay. Okay, so we were asked whether this would work on YouTube. Wrong keyboard. Man, do you guys ever have this situation where you're trying to run from two keyboards and you're always typing on the same one? So let's go youtube.com and let's see what happens. Okay, anybody have an idea of a good channel? How about Top Tech Boy? Let's go. Okay, well at least it's, hey, there I am live now. That would be kind of strange if I tried to play that, but let's try to play this one. Okay. It's trying to do something. Okay, so what I can see is I'm playing YouTube, but I'm not getting sound out. So I see some things labeled sound. I don't know what the situation is with sound, but you have to think there's a solution. And again, it's not CrowPi's fault that I don't know on the top of my head how to get sound working. All right, but I'm sure that there's probably a solution. The neat thing is that on this little Raspberry Pi you are watching, and if it can do video, I would imagine that probably it would be able to do the audio if I just spent 5 minutes on it. Okay. Can I build a TV box using Raspberry Pi? I think that Raspberry Pi is really kind of moving towards being a media platform, and I think there's some pretty cool media things you can do with it. That's not my interest. My interest is more circuits and sensors and gizmos, and so I'm kind of like not so much into it, but I know a lot of people have done that. Okay, great, thank you. Don't know that it's available here in the UK. I think it's just coming off Kickstarter, so I don't know if the CrowPi guys are out there. Maybe they could comment when it would be available in the UK. And guys like CrowPi and everyone else, man, get off Kickstarter as soon as you can and offer things on Amazon, because a lot of places like the school where I work, if I want to order something off the web, it's next to impossible. If I can get it on Amazon, boom, I can get it approved easy. And so even though there's an overhead with offering products through Amazon, it makes it a lot easier for education and a lot of corporate buyers to buy. Would this product work with the new Raspberry Pi 4? By the way, thanks for all the good work. Raspberry Pi puts out a good magazine called Magpie. Okay, I do not have Magpie, but I would be cautious. Maybe in the future they would offer a Pi 4 version of this, but with all these connections on here, I don't know if it would really be just a drop-in. I would probably think it's probably not a drop-in. But guys, the thing is, the Raspberry Pi 4 is way more powerful. But when you look at what we're talking about, like an embedded system, power and processing power is not the problem, right? The Pi 3 plus B is, or 3, whatever it is way, way more powerful than you need. So I see no need in a system like this for a Pi 4. Now, if you're going to try to turn this into a gaming system or a media entertainment system, maybe there would be a reason to go for the 4. But as far as just the thing that I want to do, which is teach engineering and do cool projects, I don't see any need for a 4. So if CrowPi was going to go to a different direction with this or have a follow-on product, I would rather want a development board on there that I could do some serious circuit work on. I would rather have that than a Pi 4. Where are we here in this crazy question and answer thing? Bonjour, Monsieur Paul. Well, bonjour back to you, even though I have a horrible Texas accent. You're a good teacher. Mercy. Okay, Buko. Thank you, sir. I just wondered how much this would cost building the kit and using a Pi 4. Man, if you'd have to buy the case, you'd have to 3D print. It's just like, by the time you built this yourself, it would probably be pretty expensive. Now, if these guys or nobody offers a Pi development board, what I'm thinking about doing is getting one of these boards, getting a Raspberry Pi, but have the pins come out the bottom in such a way that I could plug like maybe a Pi 0 onto here. And then I'm thinking about, if somebody else doesn't do it, kind of having a how-to of building a development board, kind of from the ground up. I would a lot rather be able to buy something, but I don't know if anyone's ever going to do that. Sure, you can run YouTube on Pi 720 Fluid. Okay, thank you there, Edward. Start X from terminal starts in GUI. I'm not. Star TX from terminal starts in GUI. Okay. So can we create our own operating system? On Raspberry Pi? Are you saying that you want to like build an operating system from scratch? That's more than what I can do. Now, you could download your own version of Raspberry Pi and then modify it, but I would not be up for developing an operating system myself. Go up on speaker icon on the right. Okay, we have got somebody trying to tell me what to do here. Okay, you see how okay, he was trying to tell me how to get the volume on. All right, so you see I've got the volume thing here, but it's not connected to a speaker, so I don't know how to do that. Probably if the CrowPi guys were out there, they could probably get us a suggestion. Great. Batteries. I'm trying to develop 5 to 6 volt distribution system for a playhouse. Should use 6 volt. Okay. I'm not sure, Michelle Moore, how I can answer that. Hi, can I print a Raspberry Pi 4 in 3D using a Raspberry Pi 3? I'm not sure how you are going to print a 4. You could print a case for a 4, but I don't think that you could print a Raspberry Pi. Try plugging in the headphones. All right, we have a suggestion from someone. Okay, I'm actually listening to you guys. So let's see. Headphones. Where would these things plug in, man? I'm looking for a sound jack. There has to be one, or they wouldn't have put these in here. Do you think this could possibly be it? Okay, let's see. There's a little something there. And so let's see if that will plug in. Okay, so now let's go back to, I hope this is still open. Okay, I'm sitting here. Maximum volume. And listening. Okay. Watch this. Are you guys getting sound? Okay, so we got sound, and then with that working, man, whoever made that suggestion, great suggestion. If we could do it with this, we could plug it into external speakers, I'm sure, just making, being mindful of using the right plug. And so that might be pretty cool thing to do would be, CrowPi, we love this. Little suggestion next time. Maybe a couple of onboard speakers would be nice. Or maybe there are speakers on here that I just have not configured. Maybe there's speakers on here that I have not configured. Okay, let's see. So that was Michelle Moore telling me, and she was nice. It's like she didn't say, try plugging in the headphones, idiot. That would have probably been suitable because I told you up front there were headphones. So, Michelle, thank you for giving the suggestion, and also thank you for your grace in saying it nicely. Can you build a Raspberry Pi SDR? I'm not really exactly sure what an SDR is. I probably would know if you told me what SDR stands for in the context you're thinking of. What are the specs for the CrowPi's power supply? Let me see here. The nice thing is it's got a little on-off switch. Now, don't turn it off without shutting it down first, or you will corrupt the power. This is just saying AC-DC adapter, input 100 volts to 240 volts, output 12 volts at 2 amps. And so it looks like it's a 2 amp power supply. I mean, the converter, it's kind of nice, so it's not huge. Okay, I like the little added touch of the on-off switch. All right, if you want some funny questions on the topic, then tell us about your family. Okay, channel deleted wants to know about my family. What do you want to know about my family? I've been married for like 30-something years, very happily married, each day happier than the day before. I have a daughter that lives in a very, very remote mud hut in Africa. And then I do hope to move to Africa soon. I've got my home already built over there, so we are on our way to Africa. Any other questions about the family? You guys can ask anything. Super session, Michelle, thank you. You're so kind. You're a woman full of grace, a very graceful woman there. Odessa Woodworking, Paul, where is Texas are you? Texas is in the southern part of the United States. Like if you look at the map, it's not. I know what you were asking. I am in West Texas. I am a couple of hours from Odessa. I live in the little tiny community of Christoval. It's not available in the UK. Well, CrowPi guys, if you guys watch this, get a UK link for us here, okay? Side of the pie. Aweb, I'm not sure what you're saying. Oh, you're saying it has a, yeah, okay. You're answering about the plug. Yeah, so I think that the nice thing CrowPi did was they gave us this little thing that pops up that lets us get to that jack that's on the side. Okay, it lets us get to the jack that's on the side. And if somebody wants to make me happy and give me a gift, send me a little webcam that actually has a good autofocus, because this focus drives me insane. This is the Logitech, okay, and you would think that by now they would have figured out how to get their product to focus. But this is a review of the CrowPi. This is not a review of the Logitech, but I am kind of sick of it. You got it. Okay, Henry, you got it. Laughing out loud, nice. Okay, have you tried Raspberry Pi 4? No, Rick Gamez, because it's like, so it goes faster or whatever. My problem with the Pi is not that it's too slow. My problem with the Pi is I don't like how easy it is to get the memory card corrupted. There's a lot of, I don't like how hard it is to have a simple on-off switch. There's a lot of directions I want to go with the Pi, but it's making the Pi play with circuits that I'm interested in. If you're interested in retro gaming or media centers and things like that, maybe the 4 is great. But for me, the things I'm interested in is not going to be facilitated by getting a 4. Okay, how much does the CrowPi Raspberry Pi cost in US dollars? About $330. That sounds like a lot when you can buy a Pi for $30 or $40, but yet, look, don't forget the cost of the cables and all that other stuff. So it's not as ridiculously expensive as it might sound. And again, I do think that price is going to be a barrier for people. But like, again, I compare it to the price of a cell phone or a useless video game, or how much does it cost to go out to a movie and popcorn or a dinner. You see, I mean, when I look at it in those terms, I think that it's not such a bad value. It's just guys are programmed to thinking electronics should cost $10, and when something is a few hundred, then that tends to become a barrier. And this aggravating thing never focuses. The camera is capable of much, much higher quality output than you get because the focus just never quite works on it. Okay, software-defined radio. Ah, yes, software-defined radio. There's some stuff out there for that. I have not played with it. Okay, can you still make videos from Africa? I can make videos from Africa. Going to be interesting to get them downloaded. Now, the interesting thing is in Africa, everybody lives, or almost everyone lives in mud huts, okay, and there's no electricity and no running water, okay, and they have to walk a long ways and chop firewood. So very, very primitive. But you know the surprising thing? Almost everyone has a cell phone. Now the cell towers are a little further apart, so you see people sitting up in a tree. And so if you drive around Africa and you see people in a tree, it's because they're trying to get a cell signal. Since there's really not banking infrastructure, most people don't have a bank. So the way it works is you go and with cash, you buy a little card, and the card has a scratch on it, and you scratch the thing off, and it's got a number. You put the number in your cell phone, and you can get those cards for like down to like 10 cents. That maybe is just a few minutes of airtime, but you get the card, you put the number in. Well, then because people don't have banking, what they started doing is they could send minutes, like phone minutes. Like I've got phone credit on my card, I could send minutes to someone, and then they started exchanging minutes almost like a currency. And then once the phone company started seeing people were exchanging minutes and using minutes as currency, then they came up with something called like M-Pesa or something like that. So there's several different ones where they actually formalized it so that they could send small amounts of money back and forth on cell phones. So like you can go to the gas station and you can buy gas. Well, people in Africa, most people don't have cars, but you could go to the little cabbage stand and you could buy cabbage from the other guy, just an indigenous farmer, doesn't have electricity, running water, or anything, but he's got a cell phone and you can buy a cabbage from him using this kind of like money system over the cell phone. But I digress. Quel Party del Paul Najor, I don't know what you just said. I hope it is clean. Can't tell you how much I value and appreciate your superb art. Why, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. Hope you will continue even though you're in Africa. Well, I will continue. Yes. Have you done S*X? Do not know what that is. Hi, Vinod Kno. Welcome. Henry, yes, I think it's very good projects for you to build. It would be a little more expensive and time consuming, so I will buy it. Okay. Good day. Forward to more on Arduino program. Man, Dexter, we've got Arduino programs coming. You're going to be busy for a long time with all the Arduino lessons we have. Schools and colleges in the UK that buy iPads. Man, okay. P-Plank Beam. Yeah. Stop buying iPads for the school, man. Stop buying iPads. Get the Arduino kits. Get these CrowPi kits. I'm trying to think, again, I'm not trying to push the CrowPi, but get an Arduino kit. Get a CrowPi kit. Get something that does something. The iPad is for a consumer. You're consuming things. You're not developing things. Get things that teach you how to develop, because it's like, I don't care if you know how to do something. Don't get me started on this. Don't get me started on this. We are a world and a nation of watchers and consumers. We don't need any more watchers or consumers. What we need are makers and producers and doers. Make something, fix something, build something, grow something, cook something, repair something, do something. But it's just like all everyone does is sit around and watch. And I was in San Antonio this weekend, and okay, I wanted a coffee, went into Starbucks. I've actually boycotted them, but I'm desperate. So I was so desperate, I actually walked into a Starbucks. And all these little snowflakes in there. I would like a double wet latte, blah, 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 just like they're special because they can order the coffee just the way they want it. What kind of narcissistic society have we become? It is not, it is not worth anything to anybody that you can order a coffee just the way you want it. And you're so proud of yourself how you can order fancy little coffee just the way you see. You triggered me. Somebody triggered me there with the iPad comment, but I digress. Okay. If a put other SD card with different operating system, will it boot to the other operating system? I don't know. At one point, Windows had like a Windows Lite version for the Arduino, for the Raspberry Pi, but I'm not sure where that went. Which part of Africa? Okay, I'm being a little vague because I use my real name. Okay, I use my real name, a little vague about exactly where I am, and I think I just said where I am in Texas. And normally I don't say where I am at any given time, and normally I don't say specifically where I live because there's crazy people out there. There are crazy people out there. Okay, we're in Africa. I'm from Africa. Chisola Naya, where in Africa are you from? Okay, where in Africa are you from? South Africa, Linden. All right, I've never been to South Africa, but I would love to go there. South Africa still has hunting, if I believe. Most of Africa seems that they've outlawed hunting. Man, I think that managed hunting could generate wealth for Africa to where if you say, don't kill the elephants, then you have poaching. But if you have managed hunting, then it becomes a very valuable commodity. And then the indigenous population begins to protect the wildlife because they know that it generates income. Just my opinion. What's the best way to use a laptop monitor with a Pi? I have not done that before. Can you please be more fast? Can you please be more fast? I probably am about as fast as I can get. Do you start a good improved series Raspberry Pi? I would like to do the Raspberry Pi. If I did it again, it would be more circuits based, not media streaming and things like that. It would be more project based and circuits based, like cool, like imagine if you did a GSM combined with a GPS to where you could kind of have a tracker that you could hide inside of something. That would be pretty cool. Henry, good to see you. I don't buy them. I was amazed when I learned that primary school that my wife worked at bought 30 iPads. Yeah, what a waste of money. Kenya. I live in Kenya. Not everyone lives in mud houses. Indeed, not everyone in Kenya lives in mud houses. I've spent mucho time in Kitale, Kenya. It is a beautiful place. I've spent a lot of time going to Marilal. That's where the Samburu people are. I've gone to some very, very remote places with the Samburu tribe. I love the Maasai. Nairobi is a cosmopolitan type of place, so is Nakuru. But the charm of Africa is not Nairobi. The charm of Africa is not Kampala. The charm of Africa is Sipi Mountain and Mount Elgon and Sipi Falls and Marilal and the Samburus and those people. And it kind of pains me to see technology and the Western culture moving into Africa. It really does. Yeah, Dick, I called the snowflakes. Call it like I see it. If you don't want to listen to a grumpy old man, don't tune into the live chats. Ask a grumpy old man for his opinion. 9 times out of 10, you'll get it. Okay, I bought the ESP 8266, and people say you don't need series resistors to light LEDs because, yeah. Well, probably the Raspberry Pi 2 and the Arduino, there's a lot of times built-in pull up and pull down resistors, but you kind of like got to give commands to make them do what you want. And if you haven't done it in a while, then you don't know how, at least I don't remember exactly how to do it. Okay, secret is safe. Okay, so Odessa Woodworker is going to not tell anybody where I live. I completely agree with the coffee and narcissistic tendencies of people. Sorry for triggering. Yeah, I'll tell you. It just, okay, enjoy your coffee or whatever. But what is this deal? It's like you could go in there and order a coffee. It's like $14 for a coffee. It's just like, oh my goodness. If I'm going to spend $14, I'm going to buy a cool electronic component, or like another thing. Like I'm selling all my stuff because I'm moving, but like 17 years ago, I bought a Rolex. Okay, like a really nice Rolex. I paid $10,000 for that Rolex 17 years ago, and then I wore the Rolex for 17 years, enjoyed it, very much appreciated the Rolex, wore it for 17 years, and then I sold it used for 20,000. So like I had a nice watch that I enjoyed for 17 years and then sold it used for twice what I paid for it new. So I like buying stuff that will last me my whole life. I like buying stuff that is fun. I like buying really nice stuff. So I'm not like a cheapskate, but I am not going to pay $14 for a fancy coffee. I'm sorry. This is a really nice coffee, but I bought a $3,000 coffee maker, and I make better coffee than Starbucks, and I roast my own beans, which I import myself, and I have like better coffee than everybody, than just about anybody. But I'm not going to go spend $14 for a coffee at Starbucks. And it was a moment of weakness that I even walked in that place. A moment of weakness. Okay, yeah, you need circuit-based because these are the building blocks, these places. Yeah, channel deleted. I want to do circuits. I don't want to. And gaming, just not into it. How about some home automation? Okay, home automation is very interesting to me. But the problem is, as far as I can see now, it depends on a router. And then I don't know what router you have, and I don't know how it's configured, and I'm not a networking expert. So I'm afraid that if I did videos, it would not be generally applicable. When I do something like on the Arduino series, this is just a heads up, you guys that are following me on Arduino. This is just a heads up of things that are coming in future lessons, the type of thing that we're going to. Is this not cool? Look at that. I press the button, it measures, and then it reports the target distance. So I think we have got some cool stuff coming up on Arduino. But you see, if you have that kit, everybody can follow along. On the home automation, I don't know what router you have. I don't know all this different stuff. So I don't know if I can make something that is that useful for everybody. What are the components included in the CrowPi? Well, I see LCD, I see a matrix LED, I see a bunch of buttons. There's a temperature sensor, humidity sensor, touch sensor, a stepper motor driver, servo connections, motion sensor, sound detector, light detector, whole bunch of cool LEDs over here, LCD, and probably more that I'm not seeing. So like I say, it's enough to keep you busy for a long time. Michelle, create an event. You're so right about overpriced coffee. Yes. Self-absorbed customers. Yes, we agree on that. Thank you, Michelle. I think we all turn into grumpy old men eventually. I don't think Michelle will ever be a grumpy old man, but I don't even think she will be a grumpy old lady. She seems like a nice lady. But yeah, and I'm not grumpy. It's just I don't have time for you ordering your fancy coffees. I don't have time for it. Life is too short to sit and look at you, your little man bun. Don't get me started on the man bun. Okay, don't get me started on the man bun. All right. Which country in Africa? I am being somewhat secretive about where I am for security reasons because, it can be dangerous in the United States, but it can be dangerous in Africa. So I don't actually say specifically where I am there, but I have already built my home. Okay, you guys keep asking me. You keep asking me. I'll show you a picture of my house, all right? Do you want to see a picture of my house in Africa? Well, this is kind of the preliminary, all right? but this is what I've done so far. And you can see it sits on a beautiful river. I'm getting the landscaping done and the gardens and the farming and all of that sort of stuff. You asked, you got it. Okay, you asked, you got it. Okay, sir, have you done any projects using Raspberry Pi and Arduino? Raspberry Pi and Arduino. Yes, yes, that in our space program, we integrated the Raspberry Pi with the Arduino and had them working together where the Pi kind of controlled things and ran out and got the Arduino to make measurements. And so we've done that. BeagleBone Black, I love, but the problem with the BeagleBone Black is that it doesn't really have a lot of followers. And so I did a series on the BeagleBone Black, and it wasn't that popular because people usually don't use. There's things that are about it that are nicer than the Raspberry Pi, but if you don't have a user base, if you don't have a strong community behind something like that, it just doesn't seem to go anywhere. Could you give us a slimmed down version of how, are you saying that I'm fat? You want me to slim down? Look, I am not fat. Look, I am not fat. Oh, a slimmed down version of how you do telemetry via Ethernet. Okay. 2.4 gigahertz commercial Wi-Fi radio. We have ham licenses. We reprovision those radios to 2.39 gigahertz so that nobody is operating at that frequency, so it's dead quiet. All right. High gain parabolic antenna, and then we point it up at the balloon, and then we establish a high bandwidth live video channel from Earth to space. And that's high school students doing that. I think that is pretty cool. Okay, I appreciate your online tutorials. This is Dan Whiffen. I appreciate your online tutorials on Arduino and Python. You were the first person that helped me get my head around. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Yeah, Visual Basic. Okay, I haven't done that. All right, very good. What it comes to making purchases, my saying is cry once after you hear your, yeah. So that's big beat. Yeah, man, I don't waste a lot of money and I'm very thoughtful in my purchases, but when I buy something, I want to buy something that will last me the rest of my life. So I'm a lot less likely to go on a cruise, which might be nice, but the money is gone, or go out to a fine restaurant. Money is gone. But if I buy like a really, really nice barbecue pit that will last me the rest of my life, okay, or if I buy a watch that will last me the rest of my life, and that's why I live life with like a 3-generation old cell phone. So whatever this iPhone is, it was like when it came out, I'm sure it was close to $1,000. I wait to 2 or 3 years later, and then I buy this cell phone with no contract. I think I got this iPhone with no contract I just got for $150. So I'll go through life with previous generation cell phone, but then I'll have like the coolest barbecue grill or the coolest coffee maker that you could imagine. That is just the way I roll. Yeah, man buns. Don't get me started. You guys are, some of you are deliberately trying to trigger me. Man buns will do it. Snowflakes will do it. Safe spaces will trigger me. Can Raspberry Pi replace Arduino completely? I don't think so. Like when I just want to work at the hardware level with something like this, I am always going to go back to the Arduino, almost always, because the Arduino just really is in its zone. The Arduino is in its zone working with circuits and components, and that's what it's good at, and that's what I would really always be intending on using it for. And it really does a better job than the Raspberry Pi. It's just sometimes you reach the point that you don't have the horsepower. Like if you want to do video or audio, those types of things, you really want to move to the Raspberry Pi. Okay. Thank man for teaching Arduino in such a cool, clear manner. Oh, well, Inferno 601, thank you. Did you ever find the balloon that went missing? No, that one we never found. And I always wonder what happened to it. It had a couple of GoPros on it. We clearly labeled, our contact information, but I think maybe if somebody found a couple of GoPros, $300 each, maybe they just decided that it was their lucky day. So that is fun. Hello from Greece. Oh man, Greece. Oh, I was in San Antonio this weekend and I was looking for a Greek restaurant. It's been a long time since I had a really delicious Greek meal, but the Greek people know how to cook that Mediterranean style food. It is really the best and actually very healthy. Is that an Arduino Nano on the board? Yeah, as we go further on the Arduino lessons, as we move forward in the Arduino lessons, I encourage you guys to get a Nano because you see how clean these builds are you can do when you pop a Nano onto the board and then you have everything all together. Now imagine if you look at all these wires and if you tried to do something like wire that thing up with these kinds of wires, it would be a hopeless rat's nest. So as you start getting more complicated circuits, what I'm going to encourage you guys to do is to get some of these straight jumper wires and to get a Nano. And then you're going to be able to do a lot better job. Channel deleted. Remember you? I remember you from a few minutes ago. Okay, Terry make. Okay, Tina Chadbury. I'm always a little nervous about these foreign things. I hope you guys are being clean. I am 15 and I love Arduino. Yes, channel deleted. Yes, 15. You're on the right track. Don't get sucked into video games. Don't get sucked into expensive iPhones. Be buying components, man. Talk to everyone. Components, man. You need components. You need to be building things, making things, be an engineer. What are some good books that you would recommend for do-it-yourself learners? Man, YouTube, books. By the time a book is printed, it's already out of date. And I've had a lot of publishers ask me to make a book, write a book. No, man. Books just slow me down. You know, when I need to learn something, I learn on the internet. So I think the world of books is a bygone world. Uh, okay, who was okay, somebody made a message and then somebody retracted it. All right. There's always that one guy. There's always that one guy. Okay, let's see where we are on this crazy live chat. Oh my goodness, we're going on 1 hour and 44 minutes. We need to take this thing, we need to wrap this thing up. And so I want to thank you guys. I had fun today. I hope you guys had fun. Uh, I hope this isn't just old man babbling. Well, maybe it is an old man babbling, but hope you guys enjoy it. If it's something you enjoy, we can do every once in a while. And it's just like I don't want to bore you, but if you guys enjoy getting together, let me know, and we can do a live stream every once in a while. Okay, I'm going to take one last big gulp of coffee. Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com. Bottom line on the CrowPi, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. If you can afford it, it's worth it. If you can't, do the best you can with what you have, right? Do the best you can with what you have. Do like the Raspberry Pi. I think that we do need to kind of think about in the future moving over and doing some work on the Raspberry Pi. But as far as the CrowPi goes, I'm going to give it my enthusiastic support. Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.